Hi everyone and welcome to my review of the brand new Indiana Jones video game, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, by Bethesda Studios in collaboration with Machine Games, exclusively for the Xbox Series S and Series X, alongside PC. This has been a highly anticipated game for myself, as well as I'm sure many other die-hard Indiana Jones fans. I've been a big fan of the series for many years now, and when it was first announced, I couldn't wait to see a brand new indie game on next-gen consoles, as I've enjoyed previous titles such as the LEGO Indiana Jones video game, as well as other series inspired by the Indiana Jones movies, such as the Tomb Raider and Uncharted series. To me, Indiana Jones is the ultimate action-adventure hero. He's the epitome of an icon. He's an underdog, he fights for what's just and right, he always manages to get the girl, travels the wonders of the world, and somehow always manages to get his way out of scrapes using a combination of his wits, fists, and his lovable rogue charm. So playing a new game launched by a big studio on modern hardware boasting all these features seemed like a dream come true. Well, today we'll be diving into some further aspects on the game and deciding whether this, like all indie artifacts, belongs in a museum or if we have chosen poorly.
He took the cat mummy, Marcus. But why?
The story is set between the events of Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade. It focuses on Indy trying to recover a stolen artifact from Marshall College following a late-night break-in by a mysterious giant figure, played by the now late and great Tony Todd.
Alright, pal. You can't sleep here. Who the hell are you?
He travels to the Vatican to get more intel on the seal left behind by the giant, and the reason they may want this artifact. He is later helped in his journey by a new character, a Spanish reporter called Gina, who is trying to find her kidnapped sister.
Dr. Indiana Jones, Professor Archaeology Department, Marshall College, Bedford, Connecticut.
Yeah? And you ain't no nun, sweetheart.
You know nothing about me.
Well, I might not be a priest, but I'm pretty certain stealing is a straight no-hitter with the Ten Commandments. Not entirely certain what the rules are for a reporter.
How do you...
You were taking notes in shorthand.
I'm an investigative journalist, and right now I'm looking into the disappearance of someone very dear to me.
The artifact, a cat mummy, has been stolen by an arch-nemesis archaeologist by the name of Emmerich Voss, who is also in search of some further instruments in his plan for a larger global conspiracy.
Sie hören, Herr Voss. Die Relikte sind gefährlich. Sie sollen Kräfte bergen, die nicht von dieser Welt sind.
Und genau deswegen will der Führer sie haben.
The story sees Indy and Gina traverse the globe with the help of an array of allies along the way, searching for clues and answers throughout ancient crypts, lost civilizations, and many other foreign but seemingly familiar territories. The voice acting and mannerisms of all the cast feel very natural and believable. I feel Troy Baker did a great job at bringing back a young Indy to the screen.
You can't just run away from your problems, Indiana.
Watch me.
The humour seems spot on with the writing of the early movies as well.
Wait. You are not a priest.
Screw it. Sorry, pal, but you kind of deserved it.
And the chemistry between the characters is very enjoyable to see develop over the course of the story.
Look, Gina, this has been swell. And I hope you find your sister, but I work best on my own. Where's my hat?
He's here.
Hello, little darling.
Ah!
Oh, look, Dr. Jones. He's quite sweet, really.
More of a dog person.
Now, one thing I have to get out of the way to begin with is you'll notice the gameplay takes place almost entirely in the first person. Now, some people will say that this makes the game more immersive and allows for further chances to take in the scenery and explore the varying locations on a much closer scale. Although that's true to some degree, I think the game would have been better in third-person perspective. Like I said, Indy is an icon, and I want to get that experience of seeing him on the screen, rather than just being any random avatar. Anytime it cuts to him in the third person when you're performing certain actions, it looks great that way, so I don't know why the rest of the game doesn't take advantage of that perspective. But that could just be me. The game handles very smoothly and the controls are responsive. There is a great variety of actions you can pull off, such as climbing, swimming, sneaking, traversing ledges, and using your trusty bullwhip to get across great pitfalls. You must interact with many objects throughout the world in order to progress. You have such items as a camera, which you can use to take snapshots of locations to gain additional clues. These also get stored in a journal, which is a ledger of all the things you've discovered throughout the game so far. This feels very authentic and is an awesome way to look back over your journey in a very immersive way. I also love how you can move around on the map whilst it's open, instead of pausing the game to see if you can see if you're turning or facing the right direction in real time. The sneaking mechanics of the game feel very satisfying and reminded me a lot of constantly trying to sneak and bow kill everyone as a wood elf in Skyrim. I'm a big stealth video game fan, largely the Metal Gear Solid series, so this was an awesome feature that they seem to put a lot of time into. The sneak attack animations, as well as the various scenarios you can find your way around enemy territory, felt very authentic to the spirit of Indiana Jones, as you have to usually rely on improvisation by using everyday household items as weapons. You can even don disguises, just like in the films, to get access to certain areas you wouldn't normally be able to, but you always have to be on your guard in case anyone gets too suspicious. Now, the combat in this is made up between both melee and ranged combat. I was really excited to give some word I cannot speak on YouTube in fear of demonetization a right hook in this, and the game didn't let me down. The melee combat has a range of attacks which all feel very effective and meaty when they align correctly. However, sometimes they do feel a bit floaty and like they don't make full contact. Introducing the bullwhip into this makes it even more fun when varying up combos. You can whip guns out of enemy hands or pull them in closer to melee attack them. The puzzle solving is one of the game's strongest points. All puzzles are well written and don't undermine the player's intelligence. However, all puzzles do range in scale and difficulty depending on locations. However, nearly all puzzles feel straight like they are pulled out from the first 3 Indiana Jones films. I may not reference Crystal Skull or Dial of Destiny much in this review, but just in my own personal opinion, I don't like those as much as the first 3 movies. You have things like the light beam puzzles in the tombs, like the Staff of Ra, or this section here is almost like something straight out of Temple of Doom. Not to mention that this game has the best opening to any Indiana Jones video game I could have ever hoped for. It has a literal shot-for-shot remake of the opening of Raiders, lasting from the very opening shot up until the boulder chase. This was incredibly fun and I was smiling ear to ear, glued to the screen the entire time. Similar to the tanker section in Metal Gear Solid 2, I feel that this will be a section of the game that I'll just love to stick on and play very quickly before heading out or going to work in the mornings. But saying that, the entire game deserves multiple playthroughs. There is a heavy focus on exploration. The game isn't as linear as you may think. There are huge vast city squares, temples, tombs and rural landscapes to discover many hidden secrets and collectibles, and when the game looks this good, you want to take everything in that you can. The Indiana Jones movies are set over many different landscapes and time periods, and this game captures that sense of epic adventure so well. Even the opening jungle from Raiders blew me away. I just couldn't stop looking at everything around me, and there's even more to come. You'll traverse the ancient pyramids of Egypt. From the town squares and crypts of the Vatican, you can see the Sistine Chapel ceiling up close and personal. You'll explore abandoned shipwrecks up in the snowy mountains of the Himalayas, and many more locations. And each area looks even more incredible than the last. The cutscenes and character models are extremely well crafted too.
Wow.
All in all, this turned out to be an even more epic game than I was already expecting. The Indy game series has had its ups and downs, but this stands alone as the greatest entry to date. I feel the story was the best Indiana Jones film that I've seen since The Last Crusade, and the entire atmosphere was extremely reminiscent of everything I love about the series. It's fun, it's tense, it's comedic, and sometimes even frightening.
Just put the guns down.
Go ahead. I'll knock your teeth out.
It balances a huge world of exploration and puzzle solving with white-knuckle action, whether this be an on-rail shooter, a fistfight with a large brute, or an all-out gunfight with a camp of enemy soldiers. The pacing and tone of the game are very well handled, and you get a lot of replay value. The game is vast and it seems to keep you wanting more. I feel all the comedy, one-liners and drama written throughout the story was very well handled and authentic to the classic Indy on-screen experience.
Come on.
I've seen many reviewers give this a near perfect score across the board, and I have to say for the most part I completely agree with them. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is a great time for lifelong fans of the series itself, or newcomers who are just getting into the series and want to don the fedora for the first time. I would recommend this to anyone that enjoys action-adventure games, even if they're not familiar with the franchise. It takes all the best elements from the series that people know and love, however also leaves enough space for newcomers to come in and still learn enough about the world and character to enjoy it on their own terms. I would say this game deserves a 9 out of 10, and it definitely belongs in a museum.
You have chosen wise.